and welcome to another episode of Costa Rica Crypto. Today I am chatting with somebody who was actually recently turned on to. It was just kind of one of those things where I was on Telegram and somebody had said, hey, you got to check out this project. And the project is called TundraX. I'm chatting with Sky today, and at first I read, I kind of read about it, and it wasn't until I pulled open the white paper that I really kind of became excited about what you're doing, Sky. So I just want to welcome you, and I'm glad to have you here, man. Thanks so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you. Yeah, pleasure to be here. Pleasure to get a little bit limelight on our project here that we've been working so hard up on.
It's cool, man. Like an exchange that's also a DAC, right? Like that's one of the coolest projects I've heard of so far. Before we get into this, though, I don't want to go too far. I think kind of the viewers tend to want to know a little bit about the man behind the scenes, or one of them thereof. Just talk to us a little bit. Like, where'd you grow up? What's your background? How did you find EOS?
Sure. Yeah. So, I really, to be honest, I grew up in a broken system. I lived in over 37 different foster homes growing up, and it really showed me a lot of what's wrong and what's going on. It gave me a skill set, though, that I feel like I really could accomplish anything in life. It's really thrown a lot of challenges at me, and given me a lot of experience to deal with real world problems, and really sparked a passion inside me to help change things, make a difference in the world. As far as my background, I got into commercial loans when I was 19 years old. I was a commercial loan officer for Worldwide Investment Corporation back around 2008, maybe one of the worst times to get into that industry. But it taught me a lot about modern money mechanics, money creation, our global financial infrastructure, and a lot of things that could be improved. That's also a very broken system. And so, I'm just trying to do my part to help fix some of these things. As far as how I got into tech and eventually EOS, I started mining Bitcoin back in 2013, back when it was like just around $250 Bitcoin, right when the Terra Miner Forest just came out. And they were all back ordered in China. So I actually hired a computer scientist to help me build out these miners, and oh man, it was quite the adventure. I made a bunch of money, lost a bunch of money. Mountains and valleys. That's what life is really about. But I kind of took a break from it for a while there. We really went out into the mountains for a bit, and got in tune with nature, did some farming and stuff. And it wasn't until I learned about Nexus Earth and Nexus Coin that I got back involved into crypto, and learning about Colin Cantrell and what he's doing with that project over there. I went to the Nexus Coin conference last year, and met a lot of people involved with that scene. Was hanging out with Ron Paul and Jesse Ventura, and they were talking about real freedom and what it's going to take to end the Fed, and all these big, huge, major issues going on in the world. And Patrick Barnes was their CEO with Overstock.com, and I was talking to him a little bit about his decentralized exchange platform T0 that he was building, and it really inspired me. It really got me interested in how to build decentralized applications on the Ethereum network. And when I started looking into it, I just at 37 transactions a second, I just knew it did not have the throughput. And when EOS came along, I was really excited. Yeah, I really love EOS. Really love, what the team's doing. Love what Dan Laramere has put together, and everything he's done thus far has been really awesome.
That's a killer introduction, man. And it's funny because some of the most beautiful things in life are born from tragedy, right? And adversity, pressure makes diamonds, man. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And then the fact that you're kind of, that you're you're building this project out of not only an interest, but something that's kind of inherent inside of you and your ability to your desire to affect change. That's cool, man. And like I said, I've been through your white paper inside and out. Checked out the entire project. I love it. Very different than what we're traditionally doing, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I was like, yes, I have to talk to this guy. So I'm stoked that I get the chance to speak to you today, man, about that.
Yeah, same.
I guess before we move on, like Sky, what do you do when you're not building projects and trying to restore the world through decentralization? What do you guys do for fun?
Oh man, I'm a big fan of music, of creation, of art. I love going to festivals. I love seeing live music. I'm a musician myself. I play drums, piano, guitar,
Nice.
ukulele, do a bit of music production. That's really where I got my start. Playing with computers was in music production.
That's cool, man. Just it's funny the way everything kind of unfolds exactly as it should, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know where to start with this beast, man. Talk about like bringing the heat to exchanges. I think this is a really cool project. So many features. I'm going to link to the white paper and all that kind of stuff below, which I think is a really cool read.
From System UI Server.
I was just talking to you. What is that?
Oh, sorry. That's my computer talking to me.
It's all good, man. Anyway,
throw it on the charger real quick. Sorry for the interruption.
No, it's cool. I like it. I like it casual anyway, so it's all good, man. I'm gonna link to your white paper below, but I had this really cool chat with you the other day, and it was like when you expressed the idea to me, you talked about like it came from a dream. Like, let's talk about kind of the beginning and where did TundraX, the exchange, come from? Like, how did that manifest itself to you?
Yeah. That's a great question, man. I'm not going to get too much into the story of the dream. I think that's like a really long story. But I mean, if anyone's curious, they could go ahead and email me. I'll leave my personal email. You guys can ask me about that one. But initially, I was thinking about cold storage and how that's such a valuable way to protect our digital assets, and I wanted it to be a core function of TundraX. And so when I was thinking of the name, I was thinking of something cold. I was thinking of who our mascot could be, or I didn't want to use a polar bear. I'm not trying to manifest any bear markets here, but I was thinking of penguins and glaciers and the tundra. It came to me, and Tundra Exchange, and so I was thinking of cold penguins just kind of huddled up, exchanging in some energy, and
I love it, man. I
love that vision.
Yeah, it's cool. Another reason why I really wanted to talk to you was just because of a couple of interactions we had. I can see that you're a really interesting and intelligent guy. One of the quotes that you first shot to me, which I found really interesting, which is kind of the basis of this whole creation, was, I'm going to read it word for word here, was, "There is no need to fight any system. We can just build another one so amazing that the old one dies out of redundancy." Can you elaborate on that, my friend? Yeah,
definitely. I think throughout time, there's definitely been a fight that people have been feeling. Everyone's felt a piece of this oppression from central authority for forever. I mean, anytime you have power, it corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And in the 70s, there was a taste of freedom and peace and this whole movement, that I wasn't really a part of, but that, you know, a lot of people have tuned me into, and seemed like everyone was really fighting the war. You know, people, there was so much energy towards that. You know, everyone wanted change. Everyone was fighting for it. But everyone was spending all their time and energy fighting a system that's designed for war. You know, how can you beat this system that is designed for opposition? So I think that, you know, our energy is best spent towards creating something new and putting our energy together in a positive way, and tuning into solutions. Like we all see the problems there. You know, it's pretty apparent if you really open your eyes and keep an open mind to what's going on out there. You know, you'll see the truth, and having everyone come together for the solutions is really what I was getting at by that statement.
Yeah, I share the common philosophy, right? You don't dedicate your power to fighting something. You don't dedicate your energy to fighting something because perhaps, depending on what your beliefs are, you know, if you believe in energy, when you put energy towards something, it attracts you towards it, as opposed to when you invest your energy into building something new and something out of love or you know, creativity, you tend to kind of pull yourself in that direction too. So stop the fighting, start the creating. I think that's really cool, man, and I love it. Let's go on to, we're going to get into the project in a lot more detail, but the DAC part, right? Decentralized autonomous community. I don't think that's been done for an exchange before. Where did you get the idea for that, and how'd you come up with it?
Thank you. Yeah, you know, actually, it has been done before. Yeah, Dan Laramere was the first to really put it on the map with BitShares,
Of course.
and really set the stage for, you know, how a decentralized exchange platform can exist in a way that doesn't have, you know, the central authority and such a, you know, money hungry perspective. So, you know, we have some examples to work off of. So we're not totally inventing a new wheel here, you know, but we are adding some really amazing additions and upgrades to that wheel.
For sure. I mean, community-owned exchange, and you're right. Absolutely, I missed that. Of course, BitShares. I should have known better, but it's still a cool. It hasn't been done on EOS, and I think you're going to be the first to do it, and I'm looking forward to it, man. But I guess let's talk about some of these features, right? You mentioned. I'm just kind of scanning my notes here. You mentioned that you've got some new features, one of which really intrigued me and I kind of zeroed in on was the social functions, right? Like what exactly is like a social DEX, and you know, how is it all executed? How does it all work?
Yeah, sure. So DEX is you know, slang in the community for decentralized exchange. When we're talking about social, we're talking about social trading. Yep. And so if you've ever worked with anything like eToro or another one that's on Ethereum's chain is Block.one is another social exchange. It's really this idea of investing in people instead of just the digital assets that those people are trading. So it's kind of decentralizing the broker model, if you will, and allowing for people to put together people-based portfolios.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Like, can you kind of break that down a little bit more just so people understand? So you've got like, whatever, George, you love George, he's a good trader. He's got a portfolio on the site. Can you kind of follow his movements or?
Yeah. So the way people-based portfolios work is a user can go through other people's profiles who allow for the feature. You know, there's flexibility there. You can turn on your privacy if you want to, or interact with people in this social trading way, which gives people open access to see everything you're holding on to, everything that's in your bag, you know, as far as what assets you're trading and when you're trading them. You know, people can look at your risk assessment based on the volatility of those assets, and also see, you know, what have your gains been for this quarter or this year, and depending on you know what they see you doing, what they see